Hi, welcome back to this tutorial series on Introduction to MATLAB. In the last tutorial, I discussed some of the operations that we can perform on the matrices. This tutorial is continuation of the previous tutorial. We saw in the last tutorial that how we can access the element using something called array indexing, and we introduced something called colon operator. In this tutorial, we are going to see how to use this colon operator to create a vector between two elements. Let's get started. So before we get started, let's see some of the special commands that we can use to clear the workspace and command window. So the first command is the clear. If you type clear in the command window, this clear command is basically used to clear the workspace variable. So if you see in the workspace, we have lot of variable from the last tutorial and I want to clear them out. So I am going to use this command known as clear. If I press an enter key, you will see all the workspace variable is now gone. Next command is known as CLC, that is clear command window. So this CLC command is basically used to clear the command window. So if you see from the last tutorial, we have all these variable that we created is available in this command window here. So I'm going to clear this using the CLC command. If I press an enter key, then it is going to clear these commands that we created earlier. So now I'm going to use this colon operator to create a vector between 2 points. Let's suppose I have a number 0 and I have a number 10. So I want to create a list of number between these two start and last points. So to do that, what I'm going to do is let's create a vector A. So I'm using these small letters for creating vectors and capital alphabets for creating matrices. Previously, what we did to create vector, we used this square bracket and we start supplying numbers. So 1, 2, 3. So let's suppose I want to create a vector between 0 and 10, which contains the elements 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So let's suppose I want this vector, and if I press an enter key, you will see 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this vector is created now. But to create this vector, we have to supply these numbers, right? Each and individual number have to be supplied. Now there is another way to do the same thing. So to do that, we have to use the colon operator. So let's suppose I want to create a same element. So I will use start from 0. Then I will use this colon operator over here, and then I will supply the last number. So I'm starting from 0 over here. Then I'm going up to 10. So this is my first point, means from where we are starting, and this is the last point up to which we are going. And if I use this colon operator, so this colon operator will help us to create the same vector within minutes or within milliseconds. So now the same vector which we created by supplying the list of numbers is now created using only this small command. So what exactly happened here is, so this colon operator is basically used to create equally spaced elements between these 2 points. So 0 and 10 is the first and last point, and these elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 are created with the help of this colon operator, which are spaced at a distance of 1. So if you see between 0 and 1, there is a if you take the difference between these, so 1 minus 0 is 1, 2 minus 1 is 1. So colon operator is basically used to create equally spaced vector between two numbers. Let's suppose instead of space of 1, I want a space of 0.1 or 0.5. So let's create a vector C. Then I'm going to supply these two numbers 0 and 10. Then I want a specific space between two numbers, so I will supply this number in between these two numbers. So I will supply this one is my start point, and this one over here is the last point, and this number in the center indicate how much space I want between these elements that are going to be created between 0 and 10. So if I press an enter key, you will see that a large vector is created. So I'm going 1 to 6. If I have 0, the next element is 0.1, because we have specified here that how much gap I want between two numbers. So if you see between this and this number, this gap of 0.1. If you see between 0.1 and 0.2, then there is a gap of again 0.1, because if you subtract 0.2 from 0.1, it is 0.1. Similarly, between these number is a gap of 0.1. So this is one way to create a vector between two numbers with specifying a size gap between two two consecutive numbers. So next command that I'm going to use is called as linspace. If I don't know what is the gap between two continuous number, then but I know that how many elements I want, then I'm going to use this command known as linspace. So what I'm going to do is I will supply the first number, then I'm going to supply the last number up to which I want to go, and then I will supply how many elements I want in between these numbers. So if I press an enter key, you will see a vector D is created from starting from 0 and goes up to 10, and in which the element that are created is equally spaced, but gap between these number is automatically generated by the MATLAB. So now the gap is, if you see, this is 0.5263 if you subtract from 0, so there is a gap of 0.5263 between each element. So in between 0 and 0.5263, in between 0.5263 and 1.0526, there is a gap of 0.5263. so colon operator is helpful when you know the space between two numbers, but if you don't know the space but you know how many elements you want between these two numbers, you can use this linspace. So linspace means linearly spaced. So linearly spaced means if you draw these points, so you will get a line, so that means the linearly spaced. So it is helpful when you want to create a vector between 2 points which contains 20 elements or whatever number you want. Okay, so these two colon operator linspace command is very useful when you want to create vectors between any two numbers. Till now we have seen how to create a numeric array, but we have not discussed something called string array, because sometimes we might need to create an array which contains the text in it. So till now we have seen how to create the array with the numeric value. Now we are going to see how to create arrays or create a variable. First we are going to see how to create a variable and store a text in it, and then we will also see how to create an array which we will call as a string array using these texts. Okay, so let's create a variable t, and let's just simply write hello world, hello world, and then I'm going to close it. So to write a text in the MATLAB and store it into a variable, we have to put them into these double quotes. So this hello world is basically a text, and I want to store this into a variable, something I call t, and I am closing it into these double quotes. If I press an enter key, you will see a variable t is created which contains this text known as hello world, and these are enclosed in between these double quotes. If you move to the workspace over here and see this variable t by double clicking, you will see that it says hello world and it is stored in the rows and columns. So basically any variable we create is in terms of array and matrices. Now over here it says 1 cross 1 and it says string. So whatever we are creating here is basically a string. Now let's suppose I want to create a variable h. So to create a vector using these text elements instead of numeric elements, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enclose all those values. Let's suppose a, then I will press b, then let's say c, and let's say d, and let's say another one is e. Okay, remember that this a and the variable that we have created a is different. Okay, they are not the same thing because we have enclosed them into this double quotes. So when we close it into double quotes, it becomes a string. It's no more a variable now, it is a string now. And now I'm storing this list of string into this variable h. If I press an enter key, you will see an array is created known as string array. So by default, when we create using numeric array, it is not written over here as numeric array because it's by default a numeric array. But when we create using text, then it will be written as a string array. So now we have a string in it. So we have text A, B, C, D and E. We can access the elements in this arrays. Okay, so either we store a numeric value or either we store a string value in it. We can access the elements present in it by using array indexing. So let's suppose, because it has a dimension of 1 cross 5, the first one is the number of rows and another one is the number of columns. So I will supply first row, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to supply the column I want. So let's suppose I want third column element, so C, right? So I have element C in the third column, so I get by using this indexing option, and I got this result C, and which is basically stored again in the default variable because we have not assigned any variable to it. Okay, similarly I can also create a matrix for that. So let's create a matrix capital A for these strings. So let's put A, right? So if I press over here, if you see that I have not closed this double quote after there, so it is in red color now. So if I press an enter key now, it will throw an error. So if I press an enter key, it says error, string is not terminated properly, right? So it is not terminated properly, so it throws an error. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it. Yeah. So let's move to the next row, because now I want to create a matrix, so I need many rows and columns. So I am moving to the second row now. So I will press the semicolon, then I'm going to supply, let's go C, and then let's D. Okay, D. So let's create just 2 rows and 2 columns. So now we have 2 rows, so 2 cross 2 string array, again it is array. So array, basically vectors and matrices comes in the category of array, so that's why it's saying string array in the matrices as well as in the array. So now it is a matrix, so A, and this is B, and C, and D. So this is how we can create a string array and numeric array into the MATLAB, and we also saw how we can use this colon operator and linspace command to create a vectors between 2 points. One another thing you can do is that, let's suppose I have a string or text and I have numeric value. So if I want to club this string and numeric value together, so let's create a variable, name it as x is equals to 5. Okay, so x is equal to 5. And if I want to write today is the day 5, today is day 5, so I want to write this line, so today is day 5. So what I'm going to do is, now because the x is numeric value and this is string, so to add this to this string we have to use this plus, and then I will supply 5, or I can use this x. So if I press an enter key, now you will see that this x is basically included with the string now. Now this is a string now. Okay, so if you want to add numeric and string value together, then you have to use this plus button in between these 2 different categories. So x is basically numeric value and today is day is a string value, so you can combine string and numeric value together using this plus symbol. So this basically means addition, so it's adding this numeric and string value together. So this was all about today's tutorial. In the next tutorial we will discuss some of the practice problem. Till now I have covered a lot of topic in the MATLAB, and we will try to implement all those skills we have learned till now using those practice problems. I hope you like this tutorial. Please like, share and subscribe. I will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you very much.